to Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, and today is Monday, August 6th, 2018. And let's find out what's going on in the world of bodybuilding and fitness. Sometimes I look at some of these bikini shows and wonder how the judges can place these girls when it feels like they're all basically separated by razor-thin margins. But then again, maybe that's why Narmin Assria has been pushing so hard this prep to try to separate herself from the pack. The 8-time Olympian is blazing her way back to the stage again after having what she's called one of the best preps of her career. So far this year, we've seen a little bit of a resurgence from Assria, who seems like she's got back that championship swagger she had a few years ago. So if she comes in and hits it on the mark, she's certainly good enough to end her Olympia weekend placing somewhere solidly in the top 6. They say it's the ones who you never see coming who are the most dangerous. And when I look around the men's physique division right now, I don't know if I see anyone looking in the direction of Abdullah Al-Saeed. The Oxygen Gym product basically came from out of nowhere last year to win the Kuwait Pro. And now that he's got his sights set on becoming the first member of the Camel Crew to crack the men's physique top 10 at the Olympia weekend, it'll be interesting to see what he brings. When we saw Al-Saeed last year, he really stood out as being a guy who was an elite athlete from a conditioning standpoint. But whether or not he'll have enough muscle to hang with some of the bigger guys in this year's show is something we'll all find out firsthand a little under 6 weeks from today. I think when we look back historically at last year's Classic Physique Olympia, we'll probably end up talking about how it was one of the best top 10s that we've ever had in any division from front to back. And if there's one guy who thinks he might be able to shake things up this year, it might be second-year standout Ryland McDowell. Over the last few weeks, we finally started to see some signs of life from McDowell and his team after essentially going MIA throughout the whole first half of the season. If you can remember back to last year, it really wasn't until this time before he came out and made that big splash by winning his rookie debut at the Vancouver Pro. So if his wait-and-see strategy ends up panning out, here's a guy who could possibly move up a spot or two at this year's Olympia. If you ask my wife, she'll probably tell you that I'm guilty of being a workaholic. But that's probably why I can appreciate the grind of an athlete like Natalia Soltero. Less than 48 hours after rocking the stage at the Tampa Pro, the figure standout didn't waste any time getting right back onto the horse once again. Very quietly, Soltero's been riding one of the hottest streaks of her career throughout this whole season. And that little tune-up she just had in Tampa was really only a small sample of what's coming down the pike a few weeks from now when she really hits her peak. A 100% Natalia Soltero is probably one of the 8 to 10 best athletes in the division right now. And assuming that everything breaks her way, I don't think it would be totally crazy to see her end the season with a top 6 finish on the Olympia stage. Somewhere in the legacy of every great champion is the story about the time they were pushed to their absolute limit by a bitter rival. And this year on the 212 stage, you're not going to find a bigger rivalry than the one we're going to see between current champ Flex Lewis and his #1 challenger, Ahmad Ashkanani. In typical Ashkanani fashion, the former Arnold Classic champ has been all but a ghost up to this point in his prep, which only adds another layer of intrigue the closer we get to this year's contest. With this being Flex's official farewell tour, you know that just about everyone on the planet is assuming that this will be the year he puts the final stamp on his legacy. But when you've got a guy with the talent and pedigree of an Ahmad Ashkanani, as a fan you still have to think that he has a puncher's chance to go out there and do his part to rewrite bodybuilding history. And that does it for yet another edition of Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo reminding you to always be true to your passions. And make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.